Alright folks, we're back on the flight deck of this Carenado Beechcraft 350 India, and we've just started our descent. I will note that I've already set our flight level or altitude to 1,800 feet, which is the altitude of our last waypoint before the runway, or our final approach. I will note that as soon as I got to the top of the climb, which was 21,000 feet, that I went ahead and set this back down because the vertical navigation will keep you up there. Now, the thing about this, and I thought there was a top of descent, top of climb indicator on here, which there is not. So what you have to do is, in order for this thing to work okay, you have to again monitor. You got to monitor what altitude you have set in and the nautical miles between each, so that when you believe that the top of descent is supposed to start, or the next waypoint is indicated, so the FMS vertical navigation waypoints are always here in magenta, the top right here. So once it switched from 21,000 feet to 15,000 feet, I was expecting to see something in the aircraft come down, and it was on vertical navigation. What I had to do is real quick click VNAV and then click it again, and then it recognized it. So that's one of the shortcomings of this autopilot, is that you got to kind of stay on top of the game there. One thing that I did make a mistake and didn't do is I didn't change the barometric pressure to standard at 18,000 feet. To do that, you would just simply click it and it goes to 2992 here in the United States, which is 18,000 feet. I didn't do that. Shame on me. But again, this is just a little training flight here. Normally I would have been on my game. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to find the barometric pressure of Fresno, Yosemite International Airport. So right now the altimeter there is not much different than where we're at now, 30.01, with a temperature of 14 degrees Celsius. So let's set our barometric pressure, 3001, and as you can see now, it's captured the next point there. I'm going to pull back on the levers a little, throttle levers here, to decrease a little bit of speed. So our next waypoint in 38 nautical miles is Alta, and then that's where we make the turn to pick up the approach. Hence the reason why you see now it automatically says approach on the FMS. If you really wanted to hear that radio frequency and hear it go boop, 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 all you'd have to do is come here, and I'm sorry, you would have to go to index arrival data 11.300. So I wonder if you could actually just, I tried to click it and see if it would copy it, but it wouldn't. So instead we'll do 111. Normally in other aircraft you could just do 2 decimal places after. This one requires you to do 3. There's the nav, plugged it in. We'll copy it just to be on the safe side for the nav 2 as well. Even though I'm not using ILS, I'm just showing you how you can listen to the little noise, let you know you're in got the right airport and localizer, and let you know when you're in range. And then you would come here on this panel where I said you'd have to activate it. You'll come here, left click once, and now the nav1 audio selector is on. So we will be hearing it momentarily. So we got a nice little descent here. One thing I'm also going to let you know is that even if you hit the approach button, even once you're on the actual, you've been localized obviously through the FMS, through the radar navigation, even if you hit approach, it doesn't do anything. and that's one of the reasons that I do fly the aircraft all the way down. However, we'll keep ourselves localized and we'll have a visual at that point, as well as using this little magenta circle, which is now being utilized in the virtual navigation to indicate how many nautical miles per minute our nose needs to be down, or feet per nautical mile. I always get that confused, what it's supposed to be called, but nonetheless, how many feet nose down we need to be. Right now we're at 1300, and that's what the magenta circle is representing in correlation with this. So this is keeping us at a, basically a glide slope or glide path, so that we hit our next point of Alta here at 3,580. And you got to manage your speed, and you got to do your approach, your descent and approach checklists. I'm not doing them. I'm doing my own flow. Of course, once you get below 10,000, you have to adhere to the 250 knots rule below 10,000 and landing lights on. So we will do that. I guess we can do that. And hopefully we don't get too many clouds in it. We have a nice little arrival on runway 29er right. We arrive on 29er right. The airport will be on the left. Now, if I remember correctly, last time as I got closer to the approach of the airport that I was going to, the VNAV actually stopped doing its thing, and I had to manually drop the aircraft down to the appropriate altitude. Let's see if it does it this time. I'm aware of it, and we'll see what happens. Again, as you're flying, if you have Steam, you can do the overlay. You can scroll up to see your approach. Not much here to see, other than Alta is where you hit the localizer. You make a nice left turn right onto the runway. Okay, not much to see in this one. This is, this is a basic one here. It's not complicated at all. If you want to see the airport diagram, no big deal. There it is. Okay, so we're going to be coming runway 29er right, and general aviation is on the left, so we'll come 29er right, depending on if we make B3 or B6, left, then left here, then a right, or we can come all the way down to Bravo 10 and just take a left straight on in to general aviation parking that you see right there. Let me flip this. So coming in right here, 29er right, boom. Maybe we'll go all the way down to B10 and just make a left straight on in. Make things easy. Alright, so we're below 10,000 feet. I was yip-yapping. Let me get the landing lights on. We'll leave taxi lights off for now. Strobes are still on. Start thinking about our landing speeds here, which I should have done before, but I was on a bit of a snack break between the video and attending to my children. My 18-year-old daughter is doing a great job in the background letting me shoot this video, so we do appreciate her help. So you'll find the landing prep data in the normal checklists PDF, page 17, as you were. It is not on, actually, yeah, I'm sorry, it is. It's page 17. where you'll find the landing weight and the VREF, and then from the VREF you can calculate everything else. You know, by doing the +5. So plus for the winds. There's the ILS coming in, the noise that we got going on, that we set up our appropriate frequency to the runway. And landing at 13,000 feet or so, we're going to have a VREF of 102 and make our approach speed 107 with the final landing speed of 102 or thereabouts. So, as you can see here, we are 3.1 nautical miles from busting a left. As you see here, we're still on the way down. I am not sure that we're going to make the altitude there. Not to worry. If you don't, see how the altitude stopped? It's still on V alt, but it stops, people. It stops right there. And it levels you out as we make the turn. So, we're going to fix all that ourselves. Let's bring everything back up to 100%, folks, for landing. And as we make this nice soft left, the airport is off there to the left. I'm going to go ahead and manually bring us on down where we want to be. Drop some speed here and drop some altitude. And I'm going to turn that noise off. I don't need to hear that. I did it for you guys. So I'm going to turn it off. Left click, boom, it's off. And as you can see here, we're lining up for our approach. I'm just changing the range here. Let's go to 20. We're lining up for our approach at Story. At Sango, we believe we need to be at 2,800 feet. At Story, we need to be at 1,800 feet. Again, sorry if you hear my maniac son in the background. Nothing I can do about it. Alright. At one point, I had it saying VGS on here, which I was assuming was vertical glide slope. However, in one of my flights, it was going to be much too high at that point that it had stopped descending to say that to be at the point where you need to be at the last waypoint on the approach. In this case, it's 1,800 feet, and it wouldn't have made that without me manual. So there's something going on with the autopilot. Just know that on approach. But this plane here, you should want to land. You should want to land on your own anyway. I mean, it's got the right next altitude, which is 2,800 for the Sango waypoint. But you know, it's just off. You know, it stops doing what it needs to do. So no big deal.
Think rate. Think rate.
All right.
Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate.
Let's change our sync rate. There we go. Just did that to get down. So we're going to be crossing Story at 2,800 feet manually.
2,500.
And boy, this thing's got some noise, don't it? Let's bring the noise back here. Alright. Apologize for that noise. I have no clue what that is. Let's get some gear down. And And maybe it was telling us to put some landing gear down. In that case, let's get some approach flaps. We are at the 1,800 feet that we need to be at. We got our conditioner levels up. Alright. We got ourselves slowed down. We're where we need to be. And I got a visual of the runway out there. It's a little hazy. Again, I am using the actual weather. That's why it's kind of hazy right now. So it's a good thing we are using the ILS. Let's manage our speed here. And you know, once we get to story, we'll start our. Once we get to story, the good thing is this. The glide path will at least work to give us a reference. Don't mind my 1-year-old and 9-month son in the background jumping in a playpen. Alright. 2 nautical miles the story. We got gear down, and we're flaps 1 at this point. And I'm going to be doing full manual here in a second. So 1 nautical mile to story, just kind of keeping speed here. Like I said, there'll be more landing checklists and more attention you're going to pay to your list, which I didn't pay any of that. I didn't give any of it, just doing a tutorial just to show you guys what the aircraft can do and how to do it to the best of my knowledge. I'm not an expert. Alright. So now take it off of autopilot, and we are going to manage our speed. So I mean, it does look like, you know, the little magenta situation. Maybe, you know, I don't know what it's doing this time. Who knows? Maybe if I hit VNAV, there we go. There. Now if you have it on VNAV, even though I'm not on autopilot, it will actually guide you on your descent. So that's cool. So you still, you know, have got a reference on for your ILS landing. You know, you just got to monitor your speed. Keep your eye on the runway. As you see, I'm a little high. Let's go a little lower. Actually, now I'm too low. There we go. And as you can see, our boppy lights up there. And let's go full flaps. We're at full flaps. And we got a good speed here. Right where we want to be. Let's get that V approach speed. There we go. And I see a VREF and a V approach speed on there, so maybe it automatically calculated. Maybe I'm at the wrong speeds. Alright. I'm going to mute the mic so somebody crying in the background doesn't ruin it.
$500. 400. 300. Minimum 200. 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10,
'Alright, I'm back. He's done crying. Alright. Looks like we got her down just fine. I'm going to research that V approach and all that. Looked like it was already on there. According to my weight chart that I had otherwise. But you know what? If that in fact is automatically programmed into the FMS, that's pretty cool. Nonetheless, you know, that's a pretty good touchdown. So let's see if we can find our, I believe it was Bravo 10. And I think we found our Bravo 10 here. So let's very easily come off the runway here. And we'll get off and get our condition levers and everything down for a nice taxi, which is a straight-in taxi. See that? Actually, I'll just coast while we do what we need to do. We just need to get the strobe off and down the landing light. Let's get taxi light. Not bad. We'll just coast in like this. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm going to bring the flaps up, folks. So yeah, you know, my speeds might have been under. According to the chart, they were where they were supposed to be. The biggest thing is we didn't stall and we kept control of the aircraft. That's the main thing. And I'm going to do more flights on this shortly, and I will post something maybe in the comments section to let you know about those V speeds, if those are automatically calculated and then put into the speed tape there. So we're just, you know, kind of easing right on into the general aviation parking. I'm not going to go through all the shutdown and everything. We'll just have some final thoughts. You guys know how to shut everything down. And just remember, as soon as you shut the engine off, you're on limited time of power. Simply because there is no GPU or APU on this bird. You know what I mean? So just know that. Just know that. And you'll be alright. See if we can get a straightened up line here. During our final thoughts, I'll show you how to walk to the cabin and get out the back door. Just as soon as I get us lined up. Just trying to guesstimate here. We're pretty straight. I mean, even the professionals, executive pilots, have somebody guiding them in. So we did pretty good for not having anybody guide us in. All right, folks. Like I said, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going through a couple of basics. My own little shutdown. I'm not going to shut the engine down yet, just because I want to have some power. So if we go back to the back passenger 2, and you want to actually see the door open, don't let this wall fool you, people. This wall actually slides. I mean, there's a little crack, and this slides open. This is where you disembark on this aircraft. So let's just slide ourselves over a little bit. Again, just using Control Enter to move forward, Control Shift Backspace to move to the right, Control Shift Enter to move to the left. And see, here we are. It took me a few times to figure out, hey, where's this door at? So let's get ourselves here. And then we'll shut the aircraft down and we'll watch the door open up. Then we'll be done. I'll be done with you. Then you guys can do whatever it is you want to do with this information that I've provided very unorthodoxly. Just doing my own shutdown stuff here. Don't follow what I'm doing. Do the checklist. Do it the right way. Let's see. And again, some of these switches I probably should have turned off during flight on the checklist. You know, like auto feather. I don't think I needed to keep that on the whole flight, but I don't remember. Hence the reason for having a checklist. Alright, what do we got on the annunciator? And then, you know, of course, we're going to bring the conditioner levers back to low idle. We're going to let the engines cool down just a smidge. Because, you know, we kind of want to keep this aircraft good for another flight. You know? What the heck, let's let the non-existent passengers in the back, let them know they can smoke and take their seatbelts off and jump around. Alright. Alright, let's see. Let's get our... There we go. Alright. And I believe we can just go for shutdown. Let's turn the nav light off. Alright. Let's turn our generators off. And we'll do it all with the bus bar. Not bad for a day's work, right? Back passenger 2. Shift E. And the door comes open. And there you have it. Got my daughter in the back coughing. Not too bad, you know. Not too bad for a day's work. Which is funny because I remember us stopping and we were here and now we're past it. How did that happen? Things that make you go, So let's be cheeky here. And normally I cuss like a sailor, so I'm trying to find other words here. I was military, so trying to find other words here to say stuff, so I'm going to use cheeky for now. Let's just do a little replay of our landing. That wasn't quite far enough. Let's go for 400 feet, and we'll do a little tower replay. Apparently that wasn't far enough back either. Let's go with 500. There we go. Let's see what we looked like on this thing, and then we'll do it from a wing view, and then I'll leave your own to your own devices. Probably could have flared more. I think I did basically a 3-gear touchdown. I probably should have flared longer. I just let the nose drop right away, but it's a simulator, man. I know what I did wrong, folks. I'm doing a tutorial here. Mine is all over the place, but it was a pretty good touchdown. Next time maybe I'll hold the nose up a little bit and I won't be doing a tutorial, and I'll have the V-speeds verified as to what they should be. Let's get our other view set up before we actually do it. I'll do back passenger 1 this time, since this individual apparently is still in the cabin. Alright. Apparently this one doesn't like us moving, so we'll have to bring the fella from the back up front. And in order to do that, we'll just use control and backspace and come back in. Then we get here. And we'll zoom in a little bit. And let's go for a replay. That's how I do it. I don't know how you guys do it. That's how I do it. I think we needed 500. It didn't bring our flaps back down, but that's okay. We had full flaps. Alright, so I hope these videos helped. It was all over the board. I don't use any special video recording equipment. I'm by no means an expert tutorial guide, and I have many various children's noises in the background, but somebody asked me to do a tutorial. I said I would do it. Here it is. I hope it helps. If you have any questions or any suggestions or any additional information for me about how to operate this aircraft, feel free to leave comments. Again, I have a thick skin. Generally, we would hope we'd be nice to each other in the comments, but I see it all the time where people rip each other new ones on there. And if that's what floats their boat, then that's good. Have a good one. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for anybody in my spare time. I'll be more than happy to do it because I do love to fly. We'll see you next time.